One evening, a woman once asked me a question that sounded simple on the surface, but revealed something much deeper. She said, "Why do men change after a while? Not angry, not bitter, just genuinely confused." She explained that in the beginning, men are attentive, invested, emotionally present, and then slowly, almost quietly, they pull away. Not always physically, but emotionally. And that's when women start doing what they've been taught to do. They give more. They explain more. They love harder. They try to fix things, and somehow it only makes things worse. So today I want to talk about why that happens, and more importantly, how to reverse it. Because men do not emotionally detach randomly, and they do not become emotionally addicted randomly either. There is a specific internal emotional state that keeps a man bonded to a woman, not temporarily, not passionately, but deeply and long-term. And once you understand it, everything else starts to make sense. The question women rarely ask, but should. Most women ask, "How do I make him love me more?" But the better question is, what does a man need to feel in order to stay emotionally invested? Because men do not bond through logic. They bond through identity. A man stays where he feels like himself in the best possible way. And that feeling does not come from chasing, convincing, or overgiving. Let's start with a hard truth. Men don't emotionally attach to women who are endlessly accommodating. They appreciate them. They respect them. They feel comfortable with them, but comfort alone does not create emotional addiction. Comfort creates stability. Addiction comes from emotional activation. And no, I'm not talking about drama. We'll get to that. A short trip back in time. Important. If we go back thousands of years, long before dating apps, texting, and good morning messages, men had a very clear internal role. They were valued for their decisions, their actions, their ability to affect outcomes. A man's emotional bond to a woman formed when he felt that what he did mattered, not in theory, in experience. When his presence created change, when his absence created contrast, that wiring never disappeared. It just got buried under modern confusion. The emotion that creates lifelong attachment. The emotion is impact. Not validation, not praise, not admiration. Impact. A man becomes emotionally addicted to the feeling that his presence, choices, and behavior emotionally move you. That he is not just there, he is felt. This is where many women unintentionally fail. Why over-under understanding backfires. Modern advice often tells women, be understanding. Don't pressure him. Give him space. And while those ideas aren't wrong, they are often misapplied. Because when a woman becomes endlessly understanding, something subtle happens. Her emotional reactions flatten. Everything becomes okay. Everything becomes acceptable. Everything becomes neutral. And neutrality kills emotional bonding. A man cannot feel impactful in a relationship where nothing he does creates emotional response. Simple comparison. Pay attention. Imagine two women. Woman A, he's late. It's okay. He forgets something. No worries. He pulls back. I understand. She's calm, stable, emotionally mature. Woman B, he's late. She becomes quieter. He forgets something. She pulls her warmth back slightly. He shows effort. She opens emotionally. She doesn't argue. She doesn't nag. She responds. Which woman do you think occupies his thoughts? Exactly. By men don't attach to emotional flat lines. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If a man feels that, his effort doesn't change anything. His absence doesn't register. His presence doesn't shift your emotional state. His brain labels the bond as low impact. Low impact relationships feel safe and easily replaceable. If men bonded through unlimited emotional tolerance, therapists would have waiting lists full of married men madly in love. They don't because bonding doesn't happen through understanding alone. It happens through emotional cause and effect. The difference between stability and attachment. Stability keeps a relationship running. Attachment makes it valuable. And value is what men protect. A man protects what feels meaningful. He invests in what feels impactful. He becomes addicted to what makes him feel emotionally relevant. The silent question in every man's mind. Men rarely ask this out loud, but internally they constantly observe one thing. Does how I show up actually matter to her? If the answer is yes, attachment grows. If the answer is no, detachment begins. This has nothing to do with love. It has everything to do with identity. Why trying harder usually fails. When women sense emotional distance, they often initiate more, explain more, reassure more, chase more. And ironically, this removes the very thing that creates attachment. Because now his presence isn't required, his effort isn't necessary, his leadership isn't rewarded, he becomes optional. And no man becomes addicted to being optional. The first rule you must understand before we continue. You must understand this. A man does not emotionally bond when he feels needed. He bonds when he feels effective. Needing him creates pressure. Responding to him creates purpose. And men will cross oceans for purpose. Now that you understand what emotion creates long-term attachment, we need to talk about how to create it without destroying the relationship. Because this is where most women get it wrong. They hear ideas like impact, response, emotional consequence, and they immediately think they need to become cold, distant, or dramatic. No, that's not strength. That's insecurity wearing a clever disguise. The difference between emotional consequence and emotional punishment. Let's clarify something important. Emotional punishment sounds like silent treatment. Withholding affection to gain control, making him pay emotionally. That does not create addiction, it creates resentment. Emotional consequence, on the other hand, is much quieter. It simply means your emotional state responds naturally to how he shows up. Nothing forced, nothing strategic, nothing theatrical, just honest emotional feedback. Why calm reactions are more powerful than arguments. Here's something that surprises many women. Men are not moved deeply by arguments. They are moved by emotional shifts. When you argue, he focuses on defending himself. His nervous system goes into resistance. When you calmly change, he becomes aware. He reflects. He feels impact. Silence, when used naturally, speaks louder than words ever could. A real-life example, very important. Imagine this scenario. A man promises to spend time with you, then cancels last minute. Many women respond in one of two ways. Option 1, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Option 2, wow, I knew I couldn't count on you. You always do this. Both fail. Now, here's a response that creates impact. I was actually looking forward to seeing you. I'll talk to you later. No anger, no guilt, no explanation, just emotional truth and space. That space is not manipulation, it's consequence. Why this works so well on men? When a man experiences this, something happens internally. He doesn't feel attacked. He doesn't feel controlled. He feels responsible. Responsible for how he shows up. Responsible for how you feel. Responsible for the emotional connection. And responsibility, when chosen, freely creates attachment. The role of emotional selectivity. This part is crucial. So listen carefully. A woman who is emotionally available all the time feels comforting but not valuable. Value comes from selective access. You don't close off emotionally. You simply open more when he shows up well. Warmth becomes a response, not a default. That's how emotional bonds deepen. Why men become addicted without realizing it. A man becomes emotionally addicted when his brain links. When I show up well, I get closeness, warmth, softness. And when I don't, I feel the absence of that version of her. This creates behavioral reinforcement, not consciously, emotionally. That's why he starts thinking about you, protecting the bond, adjusting his behavior, not because you demanded it, but because he felt it. The biggest mistake that destroys everything. Here it is. The fastest way to kill emotional attachment is over-explaining your feelings. When justify, lecture, analyze, over-communicate, you remove mystery, you remove emotional weight, you remove impact. Men don't bond through explanations. They bond through experience. Let your emotions be felt, not dissected. Why chasing reverses the bond? The moment you chase, emotionally, something subtle changes. Instead of him feeling my presence matters, he feels her emotional stability depends on me. That's pressure. And pressure creates distance. Men move toward what feels rewarding, not what feels responsible for holding someone together. How to make a man feel irreplaceable. Here's a paradox. To make a man feel irreplaceable, you must not position him as necessary. Show enjoyment, not dependence. Warmth, not anxiety. Presence, not pursuit. This makes them feel chosen, not used. And chosen men stay. The quiet tests. Men are always running. Most men will never say this, but internally they observe. Does how I act change how she feels about me? If the answer is yes, the bond grows. If the answer is no, the bond fades. This is not cruelty. It's wiring. The final shift you must make. If you want a man to become emotionally bonded for life, stop asking, how do I keep him? Start asking, how do I let him feel his impact on me? Respond. Don't chase, feel, don't flatten. Let his presence matter. This isn't about manipulation. It isn't about control. It is about games. It's about understanding emotional psychology at its core. Men don't stay where they're needed. They stay where they matter. Make him feel that his actions move you. Make your warmth responsive, not automatic. Let emotional closeness be earned, not guaranteed. Do that and you won't need to convince, chase, or fear losing him, because emotionally bonded men don't wander. This is Brainy Facts, and I'll see you in the next all.